Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Happy Mother's Day if you're in the West. Post Happy Mother's Day if you're out here in the Philippines. Budget videos. Okay. I think I really get a kick out of them, but I also think there are some things that you really need to watch out for. If you are an expat, if you are a tourist, if you're coming here to visit, some things you might want to consider when you start watching all of these budget videos that are out there. So let's talk about it.
Why'd you have to go? I guess this world's too slow for you. I think there's beauty in the gray, the cold, but you just want the gold. And there's no way I can beat it, cause I got no chance when it comes to her. She got the glitter and the fame, and I just wasn't enough.
All right. I get a kick out of budget videos. The other night, Arlene and I and a friend went out for dinner. We went to a few bars and we were kind of celebrating a going away for our friend. And in addition to that, I ran into 4 different subscribers. 2 of those subscribers both wanted to touch base on how ridiculous the information they had seen on budgets were. And would I do a budget video? Well, no and yes. Yes, I'm going to do a budget video. This one. Am I going to show you all of our expenses and everything? No, I'm not, because of what I'm going to tell you. The first thing that you need to recognize is that when you look at these budget videos, just like you, they're all individuals. And those individuals live and breathe different lives than you do. So let's talk about that first part. If I'm going to look at a budget video and I want to get information, well, first off, I don't want to even see the budget. What I want to see is who they are. I want to look at their channel. I want to see, hey, who is this person? What are they like? What is their outlook like? What is it that trips their trigger? What is it that they talk about? These are going to be the things that concern them. And that's going to make a difference to me, I think, in the kind of budget and life that they have. Now, keep in mind, there are budgets just like people that go from one end of the spectrum to the other, from simple to extravagant. We have friends that are on big budgets, and we have friends that are on simple budgets. But whatever they are, it's individual. The second thing that we're going to look at is where they are, because part of their budget is going to be about the cost from where they are. So in other words, if you want to watch somebody and they're saying they're living on XYZ dollars, well, it turns out that they are in the province. Great. Look at how they live. So take those 2 first pieces and put them together. What is it they like? What is it they don't like? What are they eating? What are they drinking? What are they doing? All right. What are they doing with their life retired besides sitting on their ass watching TV or sitting on their ass drinking? Are they doing anything, or is that the way you plan to retire? What is their living accommodations like? And I don't want to be judgmental. Really and truly, I do not. But everybody has an idea as to what's acceptable to them. If you see that they do a tour of where they live and you can fit all of their contents and their entire living space into what was a walk-in closet in the West where you lived, you may not want to think, you may want to think about that. You may want to consider, well, their budget puts them in this type of a situation. On the other hand, they may choose to be in that, and there may be other accommodations out there. So you need to watch a couple of different ones. Then another part of it that really gets to me, okay? And this is one that is a little different, but at the same time, it applies to many tourists, expats, visitors, people that come here on a tourist visa and stay forever, because typically you pretty much can. All right. And that is the reality of renting and owning. Now, hold on. I don't want to go into it's better to rent than it is to own. It's better to own than it's better to rent. Our philosophy on that, quite frankly, is for single guys, I think you're far better off renting. I really do in the long run. It gives you the ability to haul ass and move pretty darn quickly without any repercussions. But you're going to see videos out there that are going to tell people, well, this is my budget and I don't pay rent. Well, that may not necessarily be true. All right. It is true in the words of, I don't put out cash to pay rent. That's just like I will say to you, I don't give money to Arlen's family. And that is a true statement. I don't. But I do give Arlen an allowance, and she gives money to her family. So, it depends on how you look at that. But either way, the reality is that the devil is in the details. And when it comes to I don't pay rent, well, for a very small fraction of people, they don't pay rent. They don't pay rent because they're living in their partner's family house, perhaps, and don't pay rent. Now, whether they pay to contribute, that's a whole different story. But either way, so what is it that you need to take into consideration when you watch some of these I don't pay rent people? Okay? Well, let's just make that claim, I don't pay rent, like I don't. I don't pay rent. We own our condo and we own our house down in Mindanao. We don't pay rent. They're both paid for. But are they really? Well, you know what? I'm not going to tell you how much we paid for stuff, but I am going to tell you this. Let's just suppose, and you can do this math yourself. It's pretty darn simple. But let's take a look at this. Okay. So let's say you don't pay rent, you build a house. Now, I guess the first thing is if you could possibly build a house. Number one, that you actually can legally build a house, all right? You may be leasing land to build that house on, or it might be your wife or your partner's house. By the time you pay architect fees, everything else, I have seen some small properties way out in the sticks, okay, that people have built small homes on, small, simple homes for 2 to 3 million pesos. Well, 2 million pesos, that's money you paid. You're paying future rent all up front. So what's it take to get that back? Well, if you wanted to put that same amount of money, 2 million pesos, $36,117 in the bank at a lousy 2.5%, okay, over 20 years, you would be paying that loan off or that amount off at $191.39 a month. Okay, that's rent. As far as I'm concerned, it's not an investment that you're going to coop out, because until you sell that property, until you cash out of that, it's just rent. That's all it is. Now, we could look at a couple of other things here, but let's move it to 4 million. That's now $382 a month to make that back up. All right. And again, 2.5%, 20 years. Okay. Now let's take a look at what happens when you start moving into some more realistic numbers. More realistic in that I think 6 million is a more realistic number. 6 million will build you a nice small home. All right. Some people can build it bigger, depends on where, how much of the work you do yourself, but $100,000, $108,000. Okay. And that's if you do everything the right way. And the right way is that you bought the land, you got a survey, you got architect fees, you got building permits, you paid your workers, you did everything, you did some of the work yourself, and you built it the same way. Now, I know that there are people out there that have built very nice homes for 3 and 4 million pesos. But for the sake of this argument, I said 6 million because you can find in some places studio bedroom condos for 6 million. So that's why I jumped from 4 million to 3 million. Now, let's take a look at this. So if you were paying that 191.39, okay, you're paying 10,526 pesos a month rent, essentially. Or 382 is going to be 21,000, or 547 is going to be 30,000. Now, this last one I threw in there so I could give you an idea, not something to just brag about or be uppity about or anything. But suppose I wanted to rent what I'm currently in. According to the latest Candy Realty rental rate sheet, and I have it here, okay, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath is 72,600 pesos a month, and that's equal to $1,320 US. Now, I will say this. We get a lot for that, okay? We get a lot that you would have to figure into the rent in a different place. So, for instance, we get free garbage disposal. We don't pay for garbage, number one. Now, it's included in our HOA, all right, our service fees. We have 24-hour doorman. We have a 24-hour, 24-hour, 7-day-a-week security guards, 24/7 front office person, 24/7 manager on duty. And that means literally on duty here. That means they're not at home waiting for a phone call if there's a problem. We have access to our pool on the rooftop, obviously. We have access to 4 other pools. We have access Tower 1 has a pool. Tower 2 has a pool. Tower 3 has a couple waiting pools. Grosvenor has a pool. We have access to several restaurants. One of the things I do like, and we do take advantage of it, is if I want something to eat from the restaurant here, I just pick up the phone and it's delivered to my door. They just come. It's room service, just like being in a hotel. It is. I'm not going to lie. Now, they will not allow, Candy does not allow vendors and other people deliveries to the room. You have to go downstairs and pick them up yourselves. They don't want strangers with masks on, as every delivery driver is. Every TikTok driver, every Grab driver, they're all wearing masks. They don't want them wandering around the halls, even though we do have 24/7 CCTV on every floor, multiple cameras in the parking lot, in the underground parking lot. We get free parking. We get housekeeping. I can have a housekeeper come here every day, clean the bathrooms, wash the toilets, mop and sweep the floors everywhere, dust everything, wipe down everything, do all the windows, do all the dishes, make the beds. I can have them do that every day for free. It's included. Now, if you're renting through an Airbnb or through a host, your perks may differ a little bit. You may be able to get it a little bit cheaper, but still. But my point is that the value of money, the people that say, I don't pay rent. Well, yeah, you did. In a sense, you did. You paid up front and you're taking it out. I put it on a 20-year amortization because that's what I figured I had to live when I moved here. And quite frankly, at the rate I'm going, I'll probably make it at that point. I don't think I'll make it with all my limbs. I doubt I'll make it to that point with both legs, but I will make it. All right? With everything that I've said, when you look at the budgets that are out there, what are they spending on entertainment? Now, again, don't think I'm shooting down other people. There are people that put out good, legitimate, in-depth budgets. But do they also show how they live, where they live? And there are people that do all of that. But there are far more that don't. So I urge you, I caution you, take a look at the people that you're looking at when you're looking at their budgets before you decide that's what it is. Figure out, could I live in that area? Could I live the way they live? Would I live the way they? People are different. You may be so happy with a much simpler life. Believe it or not, my life here and Arlene's life is so much simpler than the life we lived in the United States. But by many people's standards, we don't live a simple life. I'm sorry. It works for us, and that's all that matters. And it should work for you, and that's all that matters. Let us know in the comments what you think. Happy Mother's Day. We hope you're doing well. Really appreciate your time. Please do subscribe, like, and hit that thumbs up. Have a great day. Bye-bye.